Hola familia de Espacio. Today we are with an already friend of the house, ALAINA Castillo. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Amazing, because I've been listening to your song all day, Hookah Envenena. Tell me about
Thanks.
the origin of what was your inspiration behind the song?
Yeah, for this song, it was the first one from the EP that we started making, and I kind of decided for the lyrics. I was in like a very self-sabotage kind of mood, and whenever I'm in that mood, I don't want to do things that will like hurt me in the long term, like emotionally, mentally, and everything, but I get a little bit where I'm like, you know what? Let me just numb these feelings or do these certain things or try and forget this feeling or this person. And that's basically where Hookah Envenena came from because um it's not very healthy, but sometimes like if I want to forget where I'm at or just kind of like numb everything out, I'll listen to music and I'll smoke and I'll like find that safe place. And I think for me, hookah was the start of accepting that I do need to try to break these bad habits that I have because little Elena doesn't deserve that. Younger me doesn't deserve that. And I deserve better. And yeah, that's kind of where it came from. So it is sad and the message is sad, but I think my whole life I've tried to play things off. So making this a dance song is kind of like the playing off of like, we're going to cry and dance at the same time kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like that's a 2023 mood, like with all the situationships and everything, all the stories. I feel like that falls
Oh yeah.
perfectly.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
right?
Sure.
And talking about bad habits, we have your EP, first EP in Spanish, Malos Hábitos.
Yay.
I'm so excited for you. Like, tell me, how does it feel, that you're releasing your first EP in Spanish? And also, what was the biggest obstacle, by releasing it, like creating it, writing it?
hmm I mean, it feels amazing because I kind of there was a period where I forgot who I was in high school, and I think me in high school was I was trying to learn Spanish and also trying to connect to my music and to my dreams and my passions, and that's when I started my YouTube channel. And then when everything kind of started happening, I totally forgot the smaller picture because I was focused on this bigger picture that wasn't even there. And I left pieces of me behind. And so for this EP to have written it in Spanish, Spanglish, to sing, to write with some of like an artist that I really look up to, Maye, as well as Rolo, I think it really connected me to who I am and allowed me to create Malos Habitos, which is basically talking about all the bad habits that I know that I have that I kind of need to change, but I can't bring myself to change. And I think the hardest thing, it was definitely accepting that this EP was going to call me out. Because, it's fine when I call myself out, but when other people are like, girl, you need to do this, I'm like, bro, don't yell at me. Like, I'm sensitive. But I thought that Spanish was going to make this EP difficult, but it actually didn't because even on days when, I wasn't writing with Rolo or Maye, I would kind of still come up with certain things to say and certain ideas that I wanted or words in Spanish that I wanted. So I was happy to see that that wasn't a difficult part, which means that I am learning somewhat. So,
Yes, and that makes us so proud because like I've seen your evolution from the last time that we were together. I think it was for the Latin Grammys in Vegas, and like
mhm.
entire evolution, and that's something so beautiful that you mentioned. Not, the importance of keeping your inner child teenager at the same time. Like, for example, in my career, like I've always been a fangirl, and sometimes it's important to remember your fangirl days, like who you used to be, that she should always live within you. And
Oh,
also,
yeah.
has your like sound evolved in your eyes, like from a year ago, for example?
I think it's turned I want to say it's turned a bit darker. I think it's turned a bit more into the dance because for my last EP, Fantasies, that one it was dark. It had some like vulnerable lyrics and everything. But I think that Fantasies walked so that Malos Habitos could run.
Oh,
Because one, this one is a little bit more dancey and more dark. And I think I gave into my vulnerabilities a little bit more in this EP and in this sound as well. And I remember for this one, Romans is my producer and he's worked with me on basically every single song. But for this one, I wanted to stay in the studio with him and work like as long as we had to find the right sound so that when I listen to these songs, I want to keep them on repeat and I want to like really just I remember the first time I got Sabote, which isn't out yet. I listened to it in my room like every single day for hours and hours while I was painting, while I was in my feels, like everything like that. So I'm happy of how the sound turned out.
It's beautiful. And what's something that you discovered about yourself at the studio, while making this EP? Something that you didn't know that, for example, like a secret talent or I don't know, something that you were surprised by.
I think that I kind of knew this, but it's kind of things that you discredit because you don't want to like hype yourself up and then have someone be like, wait, no, you can't do that. But I have see, I don't even like saying it because I'm like, girl, don't be so confident. I really like music and music is everything to me. So I think when it comes to harmonies and melodies and writing things, for me, I have a very good ear at what I want the song to sound like from the very beginning. So I know the sounds, I know the things that he needs to look for or that I want to add into the song. And I kind of got annoying with Romans because I was like, I want to add more harmonies here and more ad-libs here. And he was like, bro, we've been on this song for like 3 hours. But it was worth it.
Exactly. No, yeah. And sometimes like it's like whenever you're scared of raising your hand in class because you feel like what you're going to say is going to be stupid, but it ends up being the most genius idea. It's about
Yeah.
even like going for it because like listening to all of your songs, wow. Did you write them like in a chronological order or just like, your order of favorite songs throughout?
Like this EP or
Yeah, EP.
um I don't think so. Actually, we kind of went back and forth with a few of them, doing like the verse and the first chorus, and then going to the next one and the verse and the first chorus. And most of these we've had since like September of last year. So I like knew what they were going to be before we even put melodies and lyrics on them. Like I knew the vibe of the song that I wanted. I don't think it was written in chronological order,
So like
but
back
like
and forth, sort of.
forth, yeah.
Wow. And how do you envision yourself in a year now that you have your first Spanish EP?
I know. I see myself going more into the direction of incorporating a little bit more Spanglish. I feel like this EP is very, very Spanish, which is beautiful. But at the same time, I get people that are like, can you put like a little bit more English? And I'm like, no, you have to learn Spanish, okay? Um, but I just see it kind of continuing in that same direction. And then I want it to be an evolution. Like at the same time that this EP is coming out, I'm facing a lot of trauma that I'm dealing with. And I think in the next few songs that I release after this, it's kind of going to be that evolution into the next era of like being in my divine feminine. And that's the goal for me.
I love that knowing you could tell your passion through the songs. Lastly, what is something that you wish your fan base knew more about you?
Um, hmm. I wish they would. I wish they would. Um, I don't know. I wish they would kind of transfer over because I feel like a lot of people will hear the music and then, not let me know their opinions, but I severely want to know what they're thinking and I want them to DM me and I want them to, join my like Twitch lives and the smaller community areas where we can actually talk and communicate because they're the reason that I'm making music. So I wish they knew that I'm here if they need anything. Like that's what I want the environment to feel like. So
That is beautiful. Well, it's always a pleasure to be with you here at Espacio. If you can send us a shout out.
yes, shout out to Espacio. Thank you so much for having me.